I guarantee you had no idea that in the 1990s, the Olympics had to stop testing whether people were male or female by checking their DNA because dudes born with dicks were finding out their DNA was actually biologically female, and then they were getting traumatized because they're like, what do you mean? I'm a man! Well, babe, do you think someone's a male according to hormones, chromosomes, or physical characteristics? Because all three can be different. High heels and makeup used to just be for males, and then society decided it was going to be for females. Depending on where you live in the world, it's different everywhere because gender is not determined by biology. It's determined by society. Your sex is determined by biology, and those are two different things because they look differently depending on the time and society. Another thing I bet you didn't know, what was the first thing the Germans did during the Holocaust? Who did they kill first? The Jews? No, the transgenders. They got rid of all of their research and they burnt it to the ground. When I was a little kid, anytime I saw someone who I couldn't tell if they were a dude or a chick, I'd ask my mom, I'd be like, what the fuck is that? Why don't I know what they are? And then I learned I'm not supposed to imagine what's in other people's pants because that's fucking gross and their business. You know what I mean? And then I went, oh, society just wants me to think you have to be this way and you have to be this way, and I get uncomfortable and confused if I can't tell this difference. But in actuality, you don't need to be anyway, so it doesn't matter, and I don't need to think about what's in your pants because that's fucking sick. You can tell I'm a girl, right? Because I have this long hair. Guess what? I'm growing a beard. I'm getting fucking chin hairs now that I'm turning 30. And guess what happens to a lot of older women? They get full fucking facial hair with age. And then what are they accused of? Being a sir. When you, Letitia, are an old fucking woman, you say, hey, no, I'm actually a ma'am. And they say, well, spread 'em, granny, let me fucking see. Are you gonna go, okay? In fact, my little brother, my dad had like long curly hair, but he was like a real nice dude. So when my little brother was a little brother, he had long hair too, but he was just a little boy, so you can tell that, Eddie, you can tell the difference. And so people would always call him a little girl and he would get so angry. He'd be so mad. My brother would get misgendered all the time. And what did he do? He just cut his hair off. That's all it took. Why? Because according to this society, they're gonna think you're a little boy if you have short hair, right? They didn't know it was in his pants. Where I live here in BC, there was this little kid's track meet, and this one set of grandparents, they stop and they go, hey, that's a boy right there, because the little girl had like a pixie haircut, and that little girl was fucking traumatized. She was crying her eyes out, and these two grandparents were saying that she was a transgender boy, and she was trying to beat their little granddaughter at sports, and they wanted to know what the fuck she had in her pants. That's disgusting. My little brother was going to school, and he was trying to run in track, and the teachers were going, no, you have long hair, honey. You're gonna need to show me if you have a willy before you run over there. My dad would have went UFC on some motherfuckers, okay? The reason you think other people who are transgender must be faking it is because you are not transgender. So if you were pretending to be a man, you would be pretending. The same way I have chronic illness and people say to me, you must be lying and making that up, because if I was out here saying I had that many problems, I would be making it up. Well, guess what? You're not me. That's the difference there, right? When I was 16, I went in this treatment center for 6 months because I was trying to all the time, right? And there was this transgender dude in there who's my age, and they were trying to way more than me, okay? And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I've never met a transgender person before. Like, why? What's wrong with your mental health? Like, my parents are fucking crazy. What's wrong with you? And they were like, well, you know, if people just let me dress like a dude and call me my dude name, like, I don't want to die because I'm feel like myself, but nobody will let me do that. And I'm like, hold on, wait, what? All I have to do to make you not want to die is just call you the name you want to be called and you wear the clothes you want. People are really going to let you die over something, over that? What do you mean? Why are you in here? Just fucking wear dude clothes and be called a dude name. And they told me that everyone just thought they had a mental illness. And I'm like, okay, well, what's this fucking mental illness? And they're like, gender dysphoria. So imagine the movie Freaky Friday. You know when Lindsay Lohan wakes up and she looks in the mirror and all of a sudden she's like, ah! Because she's not in her body anymore. And anytime someone calls her name, she doesn't answer because guess what? That's not her name. She's in the wrong body. That's what happens to me every time someone says my name or every time I look in the mirror. That's horrible. I would never want that. Can you imagine if every time I looked in the mirror, I saw my brother, I would punch the mirror. If everybody kept being like, Tanner, I'd be like, the fuck you looking at me for? Stop calling me Tanner. And if people tried to convince me my name was Tanner and I was my brother, I would be like, hey, I gotta go out of here because y'all are fucking crazy, right? That's all it took for me to go, oh, wow, okay, now I understand what it means to be transgender, and I understand that I am not transgender, and that's why I do not relate to your experience. In 2014, I met someone who used they, them for pronouns for the first time, and I was like, what the fuck? I thought they, them pronouns are just used in like a plural context. Like, hey, all those people, they'll be here later. And then they were like, well, Alex said they'll be here later too. I was like, oh yeah, no, damn, that is true. I do use they, them pronouns in a singular context all the time. So now every time that I go to say he or she, and I mean to say they, sometimes I still struggle to get good at it for it to be natural instinct because I wasn't taught that. But if I do accidentally misgender someone and say she instead of they, I catch myself as soon as I hear myself say it, because I'm aware of it. I might not always think of it before it comes out, but I can catch it after, because I got a few learning disabilities and I've been doing things in front of my brain, but I can still figure it out. And when I was in that treatment center, the professionals were arguing over whether they should let the transgender person use their preferred name or use the right pronouns or dress the way they wanted to dress. And we would be in group therapy meetings freaking the fuck out at the staff because we, as children, were like, y'all are sick in the fucking head. If all it took for me to want to live is to just call me a different name and you refuse to do that, you should go to jail for child neglect. But people say, no, if I call them the name they want to be called and now they want to live, I'm just feeding a delusion of mental illness. You mean one where they survive it? Wow, that's kind of like what the research shows is how they live successful lives alive. And that research would be wider spread knowledge if Germany in the 1940s didn't burn it all to the ground. Yeah, we would have been a lot farther advanced than we are now. That the fact that countries like the USA literally used that talking point to elect another dictator who wants to ethnically cleanse more people. It's crazy that we're doing the exact same fucking thing that happened the first time.